Good afternoon, and welcome to the Children's Advocacy Center of Kent County's 14th Annual Believe the Child Luncheon. I'm John Boshenstein, President of the Children's Advocacy Center's Board of Directors. Thank you all for joining us online, individually, hosted watch parties, guest donors, board members, cause champions, community partners, volunteers, and staff. The best action towards stopping child sexual abuse is for parents and caregivers to believe the child. And when a child finds the courage to report their abuse, we owe it to them to hear what happened, to help them heal, and to make sure the abuse never happens to them ever again. In 2020, even in the midst of a pandemic, 550 children came through our door to report their abuse and begin to heal. What they found at the Children's Advocacy Center was a team waiting to support them every step of the way. Our story all started with a man, a rather gentle giant, who saw a need and was determined to find a solution. That man, former Grand Rapids Police Chief Bill Haggerty, is with us in spirit today. As most of you know, he passed away last year on July 4th at the age of 81 with his family by his side. Chief Haggerty's compassion for sexual abuse survivors and commitment towards ending sexual abuse is his legacy to the children and families in Kent County. Since our inception in 1993, we've expanded our services to serve more children and families, moved into a larger facility to increase our capacity, and changed our name to better align with a network of over 900 children advocacy centers across the nation. And though we've realized great milestones and accomplishments, we recognize more must be done. During today's event, you will hear personal stories and statistics that might trigger some emotion. A team of CAC therapists are available to speak with anyone that made the extra time to process their feelings after the program. Appropriate contact information is available in the live chat. Whether you're watching individually or hosting a party for others, I would encourage you to proceed to enjoy your lunch as we move through the event. For many of the children we serve, lunch can also be the high point of their day. Our cause champions were encouraged to use their childhood lunch experiences to personalize individual fundraising pages. And while you enjoy lunch, I'd like to introduce you to a group of cause champions who are also enjoying their lunches.
What was your favorite lunch as a kid?
Oh,
Did you
as,
go to
as
a,
a kid?
Did you have to pack a lunch when you went to school, or?
I did. We didn't have money for hot lunch when I was growing up, so that was like a privilege if you got hot lunch. But I was such a picky eater for the most part. I didn't want hot lunch anyways. So I guess peanut butter and jelly.
Well, that's what I have today,
right.
peanut butter and jelly, just
There you
to
go.
harken back to my childhood.
My mom used to do marshmallow fluff and jelly sandwiches.
Ooh,
Those are
sugar
good.
high.
Oh yeah, I'd be bouncing off the walls afterwards, so I couldn't, I don't have those anymore, but I still brown bag it just about every day.
Why I'm involved, I believe, and why I'm passionate about it, raising money for this to help. The mission is that 1 in 10 kids in Kent County are sexually abused before their 18th birthday. And it blows me away that that's an incredibly high number. And it tears me apart to know that. I mean, I have 120 houses in my neighborhood. 1 in 10, you're looking at 10 to 12 kids just in my own neighborhood. You wouldn't expect it, but statistically, it's actually real, and it's just heartbreaking. I love the impact the Children's Advocacy Center makes on these kids. And I see the videos when they share their story and how much it's changed their lives, and sometimes their parents come and share that story as well, and it's super impactful that can happen. They can go on and live a quality life.
The thing I like most about it is the staff, because I've been part of this for 20 years now, and I've seen all kinds of different, whether it be executive directors, whether it be counselors or forensic interviewers, but consistently I think everybody's got the same compassion and the same drive to do well for the people who come in here. And so I think overall the staff is just really tremendous in how they service the clients, how they work with our office, how they work with the police, and how they make sure they're always looking out for the best interest of the kid.
What I loved about what you said is, this is something that has been hidden before. And what I really appreciate is that families that are being served by CAC have gotten brave enough to tell their stories. And I think when people are brave enough to tell their stories, it allows other people to tell their stories, and it brings it out of the shadows and into the light.
Hello, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Melissa Workman, and I'm honored to be the Executive Director for the Children's Advocacy Center of Kent County. If you're familiar with our work, you know that we are here today, having served thousands of children across Kent County because of the courage of a little girl in a yellow dress. A little girl who, after suffering the trauma of sexual abuse, was hurting so badly that she ran to seek help at the downtown police station. She couldn't have known then the incredible impact that her brave disclosure that day would have on children and families in our community for years to come. I don't know what her name was or how old she was, but I often wonder about her and what her life was like as a child, before, during, and after her abuse. I imagine that before her abuse, maybe she loved riding her bike and playing kickball with her friends on warm summer evenings, running with them to chase down the ice cream truck for a push pop or an ice cream cone. Later, holding her favorite teddy bear, she might have read books under the covers with a flashlight in her new canopy bed, the one with star-patterned sheets and a purple comforter, before falling asleep to dream about the adventures that the next day held. In this time of her childhood, she was curious, joyful, and a little bit sassy. Determined not to be outdone by her brothers and proud of her strong arms, she easily plucked her way across the monkey bars. In my mind, she loved books because they brought her so many adventures beyond the walls of her home and the boundaries of her neighborhood. She could not answer the question what she wanted to be when she grew up because there were too many things. Maybe a nurse, but also maybe an artist. She knew she wanted to fly helicopters and definitely sail around the world. She wanted to be a chef and in her spare time play soccer in the Olympics. But then again, she had a lot of ideas and a lot to say, and so might like to have been president someday too. Too quickly, though, I am also keenly aware of the child that her abuser forced her to become. At his hands and in seconds, she went from trusting and open to fearful and closed down. Her interest stalled. She began to look at the adults in her life as people to fear instead of people that kept her safe. I suspect that her bedroom, where her abuse took place, was no longer a place of solace, but of terror. Her starry night sheets and purple comforter and brand new canopy bed were suddenly a constant reminder of pain, confusion, and shame. She started wetting the bed. She could no longer sleep for fear of the nightmares she found there, which were only slightly worse than the reality of what occurred. She stopped wanting to go outside with her friends, but at the same time could no longer bear to be in. I fear that the formerly happy, lively, and sassy child became sad and withdrawn. She no longer dreamt about her future because she became stuck in the trauma of her abuse. But I also think about the courage and the will that she must have had to make it to the police station that day. As the late Chief Haggerty stopped to help her, he too realized that while she had arrived at a place of relative safety, the innocence of her childhood had already been stolen. As he comforted her and sought support services for her, he quickly came to understand that in connecting her to investigative, medical, and mental health service providers who were in different locations and available at different times, the system, as it existed then, was contributing to an unintended, repeated reliving of her trauma. While she was the impetus of what is now our multidisciplinary, victim-centered model, I wonder what course her life took from there. Did she herself find healing? Was she able to move forward in time and escape her nightmares? What I do know is that thanks to her, over the past 29 years, children across Kent County have benefited from her bravery. Because of her, over 22,000 kids who have walked through our doors have reclaimed their childhoods. They have done so because of the model that she inspired, and through our team of child protective service workers and law enforcement professionals who help restore a feeling of safety and help children seek justice, of forensic interviewers who help ensure their stories are heard, of sexual assault nurses who assist children in reclaiming their bodies as their own, of victim advocates and case managers who walk alongside them and their families to facilitate returning to a home of stability and support, of therapists who guide them on a path of healing through trauma-focused therapies, of a school-based prevention team who aid children in finding their voices to advocate for themselves, And finally, of our community's support and partnership, which helps ensure that these services are available to every child who has come to our center. Today, we ask that you join us in making sure that we continue to bring the boundless wonder, the unfettered joyfulness, and limitless dreams back to a childhood that is stolen away from far too many children in our community. And now, it is my privilege to introduce you to Marie, who has so generously agreed to share the significant role that the Children's Advocacy Center's team has played in helping her daughter reclaim her childhood and her family reclaim their home.
And what were some of the biggest things you noticed about her behavior changes?
Her being unhappy, yelling, and usually she comes down like, "Hi, Mom, I love you," and telling me about her day. But she started, "I'm going to leave, I'm going to run away, I'm going to," she didn't want to be home anymore, even though it didn't happen at home. She still just was so different.
So that was after she disclosed the abuse.
Yes.
And her behavior just completely changed. It sounds like it was night and day.
It was.
Okay. How did that feel for you as a parent to see that?
It was hard because I didn't know how to help her. I didn't know how to, I just didn't know how to help her, and I just felt like she needs somebody who has the professional skills and understands the different emotions that she might be going through. Somebody can help her. So that's what I thought. And then because I was sexually abused and hadn't, taken care of that myself, I didn't know how to deal with my own emotions, thinking
Yeah.
about that. So I just didn't know how to help Teresa.
That makes sense. And that sounds like that was really difficult.
It was very difficult for me because I'm a person who can help everybody, I'm a person who can just comfort people. People call me for comfort. That's why I decided to become a certified life and health coach, because I like to encourage and help people. So, but I couldn't help my own child, It was emotionally paralyzing.
Sounds like it. So talk to me about your first interaction with the Children's Advocacy Center.
Well, my first interaction was her coming for, I think it's a forensic therapist. So they came we came so they can interview her so she can tell them about what happened, so they can give to the, detective and things like that. I just felt, you always feel scared. You don't know how it's going to go. And then you meet these beautiful people that's all nice, and they explain to you. And, they took Teresa back, so I wasn't able to go with her. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's being said. But they do take me back after and reveal to me, what they learned and things like that. So I appreciated that part. And I think that's better, because I think it would have been worse for me emotionally if I would have had to sit through watching her tell her story and her emotions and everything she went through. And I think it was more relaxing for her to be able to talk to them than it was to tell your mom something like that.
Sure, absolutely. What were some of the skills she was especially excited to learn about here?
She was excited about boundaries and that it's not okay. Like, it's okay for her to say no, and I'm not coming with somebody, So, and then learning that it's not her fault, because she would say, I'm sorry. Like, no, you don't have to say you're sorry. It's not your fault what happened to you.
Absolutely. So it sounds like it was pretty empowering for her to come here and learn that she had a voice and she could say no.
Yes, because they helped her tell her story. They helped her, when they went through the different stages of therapy, and then she made a portfolio of the different therapies, which at the end she read to me. And I just was so amazed, because I didn't even know that she can write like that. I didn't even know that, she could, she just read it to me about everything and all her different steps. I was just amazed about how the therapists help her pull all of that out and be bold. She was able to be bold, something that she wasn't before.
So talk to me too about the support that you felt as a parent.
I felt very supported. They gave me printouts of information that I didn't know, printouts that the school was supposed to give me when that happened to my daughter. They gave me numbers to resources of people who can help me. They tried to help me find new schools for Teresa. I didn't know how to maneuver through that. I don't know the rules and the things that they were supposed to do to protect my daughter. So they connected me with somebody who can speak for me wise, so we can get the things we needed taken care of. And she knows that she have a team of people that care for her,
Yeah.
And I know that even though Teresa's, she's reached the age limit where she can't come back, I still know that if I called for help, for resources or anything, that the door is open for me. And Teresa, she is just doing amazing. Like I said, she's just doing, right now she's just in an awesome spot. I just would like to thank the Children Advocacy Center for helping me and not only just me and my daughter, but me and my family. Because, it affects the whole family, move past the most difficult time in our lives and giving us the skills and the resources to get past that and to continue to move forward after we were done with therapy. So that's what I appreciate. And I think that any parent who experience any type of abuse or anything and feel like their children need counseling, that this is the place that they should absolutely come, because they will be supported all the way around.
Thank you for saying that, and thank you for trusting us, trusting our staff with your baby. We know that's such a precious relationship and
Yes, it
bond, and we appreciate you.
I appreciate you guys also.
Marie, thank you for sharing your story with us today and reminding us that we all have a responsibility to protect the children in our lives from sexual abuse. Your willingness to tell your family's story will help sexual abuse survivors find their voice and the courage to tell someone. We stand with you in the fight to end child sexual abuse in our community. My name is India Mans, and I have the honor of serving on the board of the Children's Advocacy Center of Kent County. I serve as a board member because my sorority sister Dee was abused by her stepfather when she was a child. She told me how he always washed his hands before coming to her room. So when she heard the water, she would tense up because she knew he was coming. When the CAC asked me to help them find diverse candidates to serve on the board, I had no intention of serving myself. Strangely, one day while in a committee meeting, I heard running water. So I knew Dee was telling me what I needed to do. Like Marie, who just shared her story, so many of the sexual abuse survivors that walk through the doors of the Children's Advocacy Center innocently put their trust in the people who were supposed to keep them safe. Dee told her mom, who was being physically abused by her stepfather at the time. Out of fear, she did nothing to help Dee. Unlike Marie's daughter, Dee never received the help she desperately needed to begin her healing journey. 90% of child sexual abuse victims know their abusers. When we consider what we wanted to ask you for today, we decided to ask for what was truly needed: financial support for our day-to-day operations. As Marie mentioned, her daughter benefited greatly from the therapy she received at the CAC and helped her reclaim her childhood. Your financial support will ensure that families like Marie's will continue to find hope and healing when they need it the most. More than 25% of the CAC's cost, or just over $300,000, must be contributed by individuals each year to serve the thousands of children being abused by those they know, love, and trust. Together, we can stand beside those who report their abuse, we can reach those who are still suffering in silence, and we can prevent child sexual abuse from ever happening. You have several options today for helping the CAC help our children. Some of you who are here today have attended in past years and pledged your support at that time. We sincerely thank you for standing by our community's children. We ask that you consider paying off your pledge early and/or increasing the amount. In order to help the CAC reach sustainable funding and support the thousands of children who need to have their pain ended as they begin their healing journey, we have our Circle of Care. Supporters at the Circle of Care pledge level do much to support the operational and programmatic needs of the CAC. All of our services are provided to children and their families at no cost. To raise the needed $185,000 to continue serving our children and families, we need your gifts at the highest level possible. Multi-year pledges are also welcome as they help to create continuity and stability in our services. Our goal today is 20 new Circle of Care card members. The first giving level in our Circle of Care is a pledge of $1,000 or more each year for 5 years. We call this our Restored Hope level because $1,000 nearly covers all of the costs needed to provide an immediate response for one child, restoring hope to a child who desperately needs it. It also provides prevention education for 100 children. If you consider a gift at this level, your gift will help to educate 100 children or provide immediate response to the needs of one child each year for 5 years. The next giving level in our Circle of Care is a pledge of $5,000 or more each year for 5 years. We call this our Restored Courage level because $5,000 covers the program costs above and beyond the average cost to provide a full cycle of care to 4 children, including support group costs. If you consider a gift at $5,000 each year for 5 years, this will allow us to work with 4 children per year, plus provide support groups, truly restoring courage for a group of children. We know that many of you are part of a company or a foundation, or you may be in a position to give more. The next level is Restored Life, which lets you have a far-ranging impact on the lives of children who may have been sexually abused. If you would consider a gift of $10,000 a year for 5 years, that would be a major boost to expanding our geographic and program reach, providing care for nearly 10 children or allowing us to reach out to the community through education for 1,000 children. While I started by introducing the Circle of Care, we know and respect that you may prefer to give at a different level, and we are truly grateful for your support. You can find all the ways to make your donation in the live chat, including texting Believe the Child, all one word, to 243-725. Whatever your chosen gift today, becoming a Circle of Care member or a gift at a different level, we sincerely thank each and every one of you on behalf of the children and families we serve. We especially want to thank all of our cause champions who have been sharing their fundraising pages for the past few weeks and will continue to do so through Wednesday, May 19th. We also want to thank everyone for participating, for giving your most important gift, your time.